Today we're going to be working on the Toyota pickup. We're going to be making our own kick panel speaker pod. This is what it's going to be looking like once it's all done. That is a 4-inch speaker from Scar Audio. And it's the same model that we put up here on the dashboard. So we don't want to drill into that kick panel because that's the original one from this truck. We had to source some used kick panels on OfferUp, and we got them for like 20 bucks, I think. The only thing is that they're not the same color, they're gray. I'll show you right now. But we're gonna be working with those, and then the actual speaker pod, those right there, we got them on OfferUp for like 30 bucks. So when we did the sound system install, we ran the speaker wire from the amp to that kick panel, also to this side. So the speaker wire is just back there behind the kick panel, and once we're done with the speaker pod, we'll be able to hook it up. So I'm gonna show you guys what we got. So this is a kick panel. Just ignore all the lines. We drew those in trying to get the center of it, but we're not gonna use none of that. And it's gray, so we're gonna have to paint that. And then these are the speakers that we're gonna be using, 4-inch. This is the speaker. $60-watt RMS. This is the speaker pod. And this, we got it from some other speaker pods because we had ordered a couple of speaker pods before, because we wanted to use 5 1/4-inch speakers, which weren't gonna fit. So this is the only size we were able to get that fit on the kick panel. So we're gonna have to go ahead and wash this because it's all dusty. We're just gonna spray with some Simple Green, and we're gonna scrub it with this to get all the dirt off of it. So on the driver's side kick panel, the way we figured out the placement of the speaker pod, by the way, this speaker pod has an angle. So we wanted this facing up towards like the driver, I guess you could say. We kind of just figured out the angle like that. And then we measured 8 inches from here to like about here. It's our first time doing this, so I don't even know we're doing it right. But I think the driver's side came out okay. Let's say 8 inches. Let's say right about here. We'll draw a line all the way across. Like that. 8 inches, yeah. Alright, so now what we did is we used this one right here, which makes this face the driver. So we lined it up with the 8-inch line, and then we just made sure that the speaker pod was flush all the way around so that it won't go past the kick panel, especially right here, because this is where it inserts into the little tab that's on the cab. And then we taped it up with some masking tape to hold it in place. Now that we have it taped up in a couple of spots, we're gonna go ahead and drill some pilot holes for the screws. We're going to insert a screw in here just to hold it in place so it won't move when we start doing the rest of the screws. Screw this in. We're gonna go ahead and do, I think there's like 8 screw holes that we have to do. Now that we have all the screws in, and they're not being held in by anything for now, but we have all 8 in. We're gonna use a what is this? I think it's a 4-inch. Yeah, it's a 4-inch hole saw. And we're gonna drill out the center of this speaker pod for the speaker to sit in. So now to get the mounting holes for the speaker, the way we did it was we used this line right here as a guide and matched it up with this as best as possible. Not gonna be 100% perfect, but we just eyeballed it, and we went ahead and we did our markings with this white marker. Now that we have all 4 holes drilled out, that's where the speaker is gonna be mounted. And we're gonna use these little tabs. I think they're called fast nuts or something like that. We're gonna use 4 of these screws to mount it to the speaker pod. We got this hardware with the Alpine speakers from the Trailblazer, and we just had it sitting around, so this is what we're gonna use. So now we're gonna go ahead and remove the speaker pod. Now with the speaker pod out of the way, we're gonna flip this over and we're gonna drill a 3-inch hole, 3.5-inch hole right here to be able to connect the speaker wire to the speaker. We have to drill 4 of these bolt holes. We have to drill them out a little bit bigger because we only have 8 of these. So 4 of them are going to hold the speaker to the speaker pod, and then 4 of them are going to be the ones that are more noticeable on the kick panel. So these 4 right here are going to get drilled out to fit this screw, which is a little bit bigger. Okay, now that everything is drilled out and how we want it, we're gonna have to sand these down with the 400 grit and some of this 3M. We're gonna give it a light scuff just so we could paint the panels. Now that we're done with the kick panel, we're gonna start scuffing up the speaker pod. We wipe the speaker pod and the kick panel with some acetone. Now we're gonna spray them down, and we got this SAM color coat shadow blue. We thought that this was the closest to the original paint, but there's actually something a little bit closer. This is just a little bit darker, not by much. So we used already like about maybe like half, a little bit more than half on the driver's side, so hopefully this is enough for the passenger side. We got like 4 or 5 coats of paint on each panel, so we're gonna let them dry overnight, and then tomorrow we'll assemble the whole thing, put it all together. This is what it's looking like right now. This thing fell like a couple of times, so we just resprayed over we didn't even wipe it down, we just resprayed over whatever fell on it. We let these dry overnight, so now we're going to be installing these little tabs on here so that we could bolt up the speaker. These little covers have that mesh thing on there, so we're just gonna pop it out and then reinstall it. And it has the bolt holes right here, if you can see them. Didn't look like that. Now that we have this assembled, we could go ahead and put this on. And we're gonna start on this side, so we won't be able to see it from the front of the kick panel. We're just gonna go all the way around and slide it on. gonna be like a little empty spot. And now we're gonna throw this on here. So I'm gonna assemble this off of camera real quick because it's gonna take me a bit just to set the screws in, and then we have to put the nuts in through the back, and I'll show you guys what it looks like after. This is what it looks like. So we have the 4 black screws to the front, and then the 4 rear screws are the silver ones, and we just put some nuts on the silver ones, and for the black ones we use those tabs. We're just missing one on this one. Let's see if we can find it right now. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull the truck forward so we can get to the kick panel. We're here on the passenger side. Some chocolate got on the carpet. We're gonna take off these 4 little screws along this little carpet trim. We're just gonna pull this up. Then for the actual kick panel, we're going to remove the 2 Phillips screws that are holding it in place. I'm just gonna pop it off and remove this one. And we're actually gonna reuse the hardware for this kick panel. So you can see that this is the cable that we ran previously. We're gonna remove these little caps. I'm gonna have to cut them off, but we're gonna remove them and we're gonna put the new terminals on here. This is what we put on, so they're all crimped into place. Now we have to connect it to the speaker. That's why we cut that 3-inch hole in the back right there, so we could have access to the terminals back here. And this has to go into that. So with the other speaker pods that we were gonna get the first time, which were shorter than these, we're gonna have trouble with getting the magnet to sit without contacting the ECU. So we had to go with these, and also we were gonna go with 5 1/4, but then that wasn't gonna fit onto the kick panel, like I said. So this is the closest size that we were able to fit. So I'm gonna go ahead and install this, and then I'll show you what it looks like. That's what it looks like once it's all installed. And we do have a little gap right here, but this panel was a little bent out of shape, so hopefully with some heat, once it's been in here for a while, hopefully it goes away. The color is a little off. You guys can't really tell, but it is a little off, a little darker than this. We got a little scratch there and there, but we're gonna touch it up with the Q-tip and some paint. It is kind of taking up a little bit of the space down here, but it is what it is. Now we have both 4-inch kicker panel speakers in, and then we have the 4-inch up here on the dash, and that completes our sound system for this truck. We don't have any more plans for the sounds as of yet. Maybe something will change in the future, but for now it's good where it's at. Make sure to check us out on Instagram at Yonke_OXC films. I'll leave that in the description down below, and we'll catch you on the next one.